So, y'all, this is Brandon Ellrich.
Oh my God. What's up, Brandon?
Welcome. He is our guest today. I am Dana Dubois. Sorry, should have started.
Hi,
with
Dana.
that.
I'm Lawrence Winnerman. Who's this
Hello.
handsome fellow?
This is Brandon Ellrich from Brandon Ellrich is So Gay.
So gay, yes.
You know, we're thrilled that you're here. We've seen your name a lot on the other side, with the whatevers, as we've started affectionately calling our studio audience. We can't really say that, our podcast audience. And you all should just go to brandonelrich.substack.com and look at the image on the top of him holding the rubber chicken and the it's very funny. You are very funny, and I need to. I'm going to open another instance of Substack so I can see the chat. Although I think Lawrence, will you primarily be on chat duty for today?
Yeah. I can man the chat today.
Okay. You know, I always want to use non-gendered language there, and there isn't like a simple man
We
the
can
chat.
just make it. I'm gonna person the chat. I'm personing the chat.
We can person the chat, but it just sounds weird, doesn't it? Sometimes usage is like.
I mean, it sounds weird until it doesn't. Let's just keep using it until it sounds right.
To person the chat.
It'll catch on.
Okay. You heard it here first.
Adulting the chat. I'm gonna adult the chat today. That makes me sound like I'm the teacher, which I don't want to be. I'm gonna jump in and say sweary things with all the rest of
Yes.
you.
Moderate.
Yeah. Moderate the chat. But that's
moderate sounds like work.
It does. I loved the eye roll. Moderate sounds like work. And also it's 3 syllables. We don't have time for that. Man the chat. Shorter. I have 2 questions, thoughts that I want to put out there first for you, Brandon. And the first one is I listened to a recent story of yours last night. I love that Substack gives this feature of sometimes I'm in the mood to read, sometimes I have headphones on and I just want someone to talk to me. So I feel like we've already had a conversation because I had you in my ears, and you were talking about the importance of nicknames or terms of endearment between gay best friends and their straight besties. And obviously this is a subject near and dear to my heart, so I wanted to talk first a little with Lawrence, a little with you. Lawrence, how do you feel about gay bay?
Hate it.
Can I all right, so we will go with gay bay. I thought maybe you could call me was it breeder babe or straight date?
Breeder bestie.
Gay bay it is.
Gay bay it is. Well,
if I call you breeder bitch, that sounds like, I don't know, somehow I'm being derogatory, and I could never be derogatory with you.
Right. Brandon, do you have a better suggestion? Because the gay bay is what I would call you, but what should Lawrence call me? 45 years of friendship, so it's important we nail this one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll have to think about that.
T-Bot, that bitch over there.
That bitch over there works okay for me, honestly. I actually want to find...
This is Dana. She's my T-Bot.
She's my... Wait, what was that now?
Straight girlfriend.
That bitch over there.
That bitch over there. Okay.
Thoughty, but it's bitch instead. I mean, you could be thoughty.
I like it. I'm looking for that story now. Where did I see that?
Jim Dandy is saying, Brandon, that you need to lip sync to a Talking Heads song, and I could see it. It's a compliment. I'm pretty sure. I mean, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure he means it as a compliment. Like, you've got kind of the right look to lip sync along to a Talking Heads song.
I don't know if I know any.
Then again,
you're Gen X. Come on.
Come on.
Well, I'm late Gen X.
You're not that late, baby.
True, but
you're late, but you ain't that late. Come on now.
You gotta know.
Well,
this is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful
wife.
And
if I heard one, I might.
Let the water hold me. All right.
Sometimes I'm not very good at identifying. Like I'll know certain songs. I'll like certain ones, but I may not know who did them or whatever. So I may know some and not realize who it is.
That's true, and you're in luck here because we're like the opposite.
Well, Dana really is the opposite. Dana knows every piece of music if it happened after Elvis, she knows it.
Thank
If it
you. That's
happened
a nice
before
way to
Elvis, there's not really much of a good chance. And if it's classical, she has no idea. But
classical, none, none at all. Then you gotta go to Lawrence. So I put the link in the chat here of what to call your gay best friend.
Oh
And
yeah.
as I think you're our new gay best friend, so what would you like us to call you? Do you have it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't go by many nicknames. Like my best friend, she refers to me as her gay boyfriend because we go out
Yeah.
and do things together and do everything except um, physical, sexual things. It's like we're basically girlfriend boyfriend, but you know
yeah,
that there's a little physical aspect that
Yeah. Ew.
right.
just kind of
Dana and I are the same. Like I
Yeah.
call her my desert island person. Like if I had to choose who I was stranded on a desert island with, it would be her. Like there'd be no sex life whatsoever, but we would
Oh.
talk about everything and anything. Did you notice the crabs on the other side of the island seem to be moving a little slowly today? Like we could literally just talk about anything, and we put on funny British accents and make each other laugh. And so I get it. I get it. I can't say gay boyfriend for you, Brandon, because I actually have a gay boyfriend.
That's true.
yeah.
That
Um,
that's
I
true.
don't mind gay bay. I think is kind of cool.
I think
Okay, I
I
think
think
I'm
Gay
warming
Bay
on
is
it.
I think Gay Bay is adorable. Um,
I feel like
so
there should be a Beyonce song that goes along with it, though. Like when I say gay bay, isn't there
yeah.
like a Beyonce song that plays in the background?
Oh yeah, probably. I was thinking I need like theme music for my pod because I do a podcast, and I was
Mhm.
like, I need some kind of theme music to start it out or something, but I don't know. I
Well,
I I I play the piano and stuff, but my piano is really out of tune, so that wouldn't work very well. It wouldn't sound very good. So
My piano is out of tune. Sounds like some code for something. Oh, honey, I'd take you home with me right now, but my piano's so out of tune.
we
my
gotta work that in,
instrument is on the fritz.
Right,
right?
right. My HVAC is on the fritz.
I have 2 gay best friends. I'm clicking back like 2 notches in the conversation, and the other one, Alan, is a composer, and he actually wrote a theme song for Gen XE for our podcast, and then within a few episodes, we were like, we way prefer going live. A podcast now feels so, like, quiet because it's just us, so we don't
Oh,
use
I
it,
remember.
but
I think I saw the episode where I think Lawrence tried to play it in the background or something on
yes.
his.
Right, right. Yeah.
We could yeah, we should probably bring that back every now and then because it's really good, but if you need a theme song, Alan's your guy. He's got, like, every instrument and all the digital stuff, and you could be like, sort of like this genre, this sound, and he'll come back with music that won't get you sued. Like if you play
Right.
a Beyonce song. Um, yeah,
I thought
so,
about trying to contact somebody like a musician or something and just see if they are would be willing to just come up with something pro bono.
yes, yeah, he would absolutely help you out. Well, it is a thrill to have you here today. And I told you I had 2 topics that like were top of mind for me, and that was the first one, clearing up the nickname thing.
Oh
So
yeah.
my gay bays and I it still sounds it doesn't quite roll off the tongue, Lawrence. I don't know if I'll be able to get used to that. But I wanted to share a conversation I had with you, and Lawrence hasn't heard this yet. A conversation with my younger child, who is 15, and was the original kind of inspiration for Pink Hair and Pronouns, my publication about parenting gender nonconforming kids. She is using she, her pronouns again, so I'm not misgendering her when I say she. Um, but we were having a conversation, I don't know, something in the car, and um, we must have just gotten off of a call or something, but I said something about the name of your publication and podcast. Brandon Ellrich is so gay. And I was like, I think it's really great that you're taking back that epithet from our childhood that is so gay. And she got quite indignant that saying someone is so gay is not an insult. And it was such a generational divide that she was like, you're not hearing me. As I was trying to explain, like, being gay isn't an insult, but the word gay, when Lawrence and I were growing up, and you as well, you really do look younger than you are. So, whatever, we're going to talk about your skincare regimen maybe later in the show.
Yes.
Um, to say something was so gay, and it had to be in that tone, right? So gay, right? There was a
Right. Right.
this derogatory, sort of smug, drawl to how it was said, that it was absolutely an insult. I think, to me, you're taking it back.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
it was so interesting to hear her Gen Z, borderline Gen Alpha perspective of, no, that's not what he's doing. That's not what that means. And um, I first want to say, Lawrence, I remember as a young adult, you coming up to me and telling me not to use that expression anymore. I used it in front of you, and I very vividly remember you being like, that's not okay anymore. And I was like,
Yeah.
you're right, it's not. Um, I find language usage fascinating. And first confirmation is, are you taking the term back? Was that the intention of why you chose that name for your blog, your Substack?
Yeah. Yeah, it pretty much is. I think it's funny too. I write mostly humor pieces, and just the
Yes,
phrase, I think it sounds really funny.
it
And
does.
yeah, when I was growing up, it's the same thing. Like you were talking, gay was basically it was a derogatory term. You could replace it with words like lame or
Yes,
stupid or that's so gay, that's so lame, that's so dumb, or whatever. Not necessarily referring to any sexual preference or anything.
right,
It's it was because gay was synonymous with lame or stupid or something derogatory. Because being gay was not a great thing to be, but I think it is a great thing to be. And so I am so gay because that's great.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I come from with it. But I can understand other people not, um, if I can understand that viewpoint that it's not great to use it that way for some people. But
right.
I guess everybody's got their own take on it, and you're not going to please everybody. So
It's interesting. In the chat, we're talking about the word queer, and Kat is saying that it makes her uncomfortable to use the word queer, even though her friends tell her that she can. And I was saying that I like the word queer because I wanted an umbrella term that kind of means all of us, right? Like I love that we keep adding letters to the GLBTQIA plus two spirit, acronym, but I just want a word that means all of us. And for me, that's queer. And Fasuna is saying for her that queer is okay amongst queers, but not by people who aren't. And
yeah,
so,
I was gonna say that too. A lot of it like that. Queer. I do use queer a lot in my writing, and I like that one. But I can see how a lot of straight people would be uncomfortable using it, and I think it's that way in different cultures. Certain words, races and cultures, they can use certain words among themselves, but if someone outside of that group uses it, it's not so good.
right. Like the N word, I would never, ever, ever in my life use the N word, right? And I
Right.
get that if you are, you can, but I'm very clear that I am not. And so I cannot.
Right. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And um, first of all, thank you for affirming that I'm correct in my mother-daughter argument. I, to me, what it signals is how different the world that she's growing up in is.
Hmm.
A world where at their middle school, the GSA, which no longer stands for the Gay Student Alliance, it's the Gender and Sexuality Alliance, I think now. Um, that was the biggest club in their school. Like, um, it's sorry, I keep playing with my hair. It's very bushy today. But my kids are growing up in a world, a very narrow blue bubble of a world where, of course, it's not an insult. And there is no usage of the word gay to mean lame like there was when we were growing up. That's what I
Yeah.
was trying to explain, where we weren't hearing each other was a like, it's not that we were saying gay people were lame, though indirectly we were saying that. It was that the usage of the word just meant the same thing as, yeah, that's so lame. The other word, like, It
I hear that, and growing up gay while that thought
Oh,
was
yeah.
pervasive was really fucking hard.
Yeah, I'm sure it was, and back then, though, n no oh, shoot, my dog is up and going again. Back then, though, it's like no one was gay, right?
Right.
No one was gay, so it was, that I didn't, we were not the fully developed humans we are, so I apologize. I know I used that word. We also, it's funny, I won't say this word anymore, but the F word, um, I have no trouble saying queer, and if I'm ever using it wrong, let me know. To me, that's just a modifier of like, he's queer, but I would never use the F word. But that was another word that just sort of meant lame, right? Usually with a Y on the end to make it an adjective.
Yeah, right.
And now I'm horrified that we would say that. Usage is a crazy thing. Well, this is a fun introduction to Pride. It's almost Pride Month,
Yeah.
and I know you have. Oh, you guys, I may need to take my dog out again. I'm not going to take the phone with me if I have to do this. I'm really sorry.
If you have to do it, put your phone on mute, and then Brandon and I will chat amongst ourselves.
Yeah, that's what I think I'm going to do. Weirdly, do I know how to use mute within
Yeah, there's just a little microphone
microphone
mute
right there?
button in the upper right.
You all are going to get to stare at Yoshi, my little painting there. All right, you gay bays, discuss amongst yourselves. Yeah, that word's not sticking. I don't think it does not roll off my tongue. But I will be back in just a moment. You
All
guys
right.
discuss amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves.
All right. Talk amongst yourselves. All right, Brandon, she's finally gone. Now we can really tell all the truth.
Yeah.
There are things we never say in front of straight people, but now we can finally talk about them.
Right.
So remind me where you are. Where do you live?
I am in the Midwest. I'm in Missouri.
Okay.
Missouri.
Middle Missouri? Whereabouts?
I'm not too far from Kansas City, really. I mean, so it's more on the west side, I guess,
Yeah,
west
the west side
central.
of the state. Okay. My father's family is from St. Louis, so I spent much of my
Oh yeah,
childhood going to St. Louis to visit grandparents. I kind of love Missouri. I mean, not current Missouri, which is redder than I don't know what it's redder than blood, redder than the devil, something.
it hasn't been that way all that long because years ago, at least for a while, I read somewhere that whoever Missouri picked as the president ended up being
Right.
the president, whether it was Republican or Democrat. But then I think that stopped when maybe George Bush was
I think
president or something.
Obama. I think Missouri voted for George W. Bush. I think it was Obama that Missouri didn't get
Okay.
right and lost its bellwether status. You're right.
Yeah.
My grandmother was always inordinately proud that Missouri was a bellwether state that predicted who would be the president. Um, so I don't know. I don't know what that means. Uh, all right, but Missouri. So we're not too far apart. I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I also have the joy of living as an out gay man in a red Midwestern state. So huzzah.
Yeah.
Um, Tell me about. I know when Dana comes back, we're going to talk about your big upcoming queer gay pride tour. But so last night I was reading your most recent article about your dad. Like Father's Day is coming up.
Oh,
Can I can I trade you basically?
right.
Um, and I loved it. I love how funny you are, and I'm wondering if I mean, I feel like I know the answer, but like funny is a way to kind of write through the pain in a way. Is that what your experience is?
Yeah, because if I just told the straight, honest truth, it would be pretty depressing. Yeah. So I've got to at least have some kind of balance or sense of humor about it. Because, well, growing up, I went through a lot of depression, so
Same.
that's that's kind of a way to combat that, I guess. I don't think I'm really denying it because I know the truth and I can express it, but I don't have to wallow in it.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think there's something therapeutic about being able to kind of laugh at your past experiences, no matter how um, terrible or hard they may have been at the time. And I don't think that's uniquely a gay coping experience, but I do
Oh
think
no,
that it's common to a lot of queer folk, that a lot of us manage to kind of go super sarcastic and edgy and funny because it's a way to cope.
right.
Um, tell me about tell me about what you were thinking as you were writing that article. I mean, obviously about your dad and kind of the fucked up relationship, but uh, tell me about your thought process.
Um, well, I don't know. I guess. Well, first of all, because Father's Day was approaching, I thought, well, it would be appropriate to write about my dad, and I guess I kind of picked from different articles I've written in the past because I have written about our relationship in the past. I've written on Medium for a few years, and I wrote several articles for LGBTQ publications, and so I have kind of here and there talked about my family or my relationship with my dad or my aunt who is very judgy. My The way I grew up. I grew up first of all in a Pentecostal church, which is very, if you're not familiar with Pentecostal churches, it's very conservative.
Yeah,
So growing up and realizing you're gay, uh, that doesn't work very well. And growing up in a very rural school, very small community, I never saw anybody that was gay or queer or anything in our school. I mean, we had maybe two. Uh, we had when I was in high school, there was one black guy in the whole school, in the whole high school, and so we had very little diversity. And but anyway, that's kind of getting off subject. Um, I don't know. I don't know if I can really. I don't know what my thought process was. Just looking back at things that my dad taught me. He didn't teach me much intentionally,
right,
because we didn't have a very close relationship. But I did learn things from him through uh, what he did and said and everything, and they weren't very good lessons, you
right,
know, because he was racist and uh, homophobic and not not a very loving father toward me. He had a closer relationship with uh, my my brother, who's just a couple years younger than me, and he was into hunting and fishing and farming and all that, and that's what my dad was into. So of course they had a close relationship. He wasn't. He tried to get me to do those kinds of things, and I wasn't at all interested. I had no desire for any of that. So but he tried to mold me into what he thought I should be. He didn't really try to get to know me or try to do anything that I wanted to do or that I was interested in. I He never told me he loved me. Um, wasn't affectionate at all. Um, but yeah, those are just the kind of the lessons I
right.
learned from him just through experience, I guess.
It was kind of a detox, that article, in a way. And I
Yeah,
will tell you that the line that you had towards the beginning, where you said something like, "I'm not afraid of my father beating me with his belt anymore. If I want that, I'll go on Grinder, and it'll be decidedly
right.
different." Literal spit take from me as I was reading it. So,
Yeah, I mean, I know that's a very serious subject, but again, I just have to do something that's to balance that out.
right, right.
I don't take it lightly for those who are abused and that kind of thing. But when I'm talking about myself, I feel like I can take more liberties.
That makes sense, and I feel like it's kind of true of all of us. Like we can joke about our own deepest, darkest thing, but it might be hurtful if other people tried to do it. And also,
Yeah,
I think it was very clear that you were in no way advocating for childhood
yeah,
child abuse or anything like that.
yeah. Well,
I appreciate you talking to me about it because it was a really good way, I think, to get a glimpse into you and who you are, and so I appreciate you being vulnerable and talking about it here.
yeah. When I first started writing on Medium, I did not intend on writing anything personal about myself. Well, actually, I started on WordPress. I had a blog on there, and I wrote a lot of fiction and poetry. And then I discovered Medium, so I started there, and I wrote the same kinds of things, and realized pretty quickly that uh, poetry and fiction didn't get a lot of traction on Medium, at least in my experience. So then I started doing other things. I wrote about. I used writing prompts and wrote a few funny things, and then when I finally did write something, um, I can't remember the first one I wrote about that was fairly personal. One of them was about losing my boyfriend, but when I got so much um, attention or love from that, I thought, well, I guess this is really what people want to hear. And so then I started writing more personal stories, and people seem to relate to that.
Yeah. I mean, it's that old authenticity thing, right? Like as soon as people can tell you're being truly authentic, your words resonate in a much deeper way.
Yeah.
Dana, I know you wanted to talk to Brandon about his upcoming journey.
Yes, and I don't mean a metaphorical journey, though I'm sure it will be that as well. But when we first started talking about you coming on the podcast, um, you mentioned that you are having a a pride parade of parades. You're going to travel around the Midwest and touch down in a bunch of different pride parades that are going on. Uh, can you uh, can you share your itinerary? Are you okay sharing that before you go?
It's a tentative one, but
Okay.
because I had to change. I was going to go to Chicago, but the cost of a train ticket back and forth and staying in an Airbnb and everything, it just
Yeah.
I just can't do that right now. So I have to take that off the list. But I'm starting in Kansas City, which is the closest big city uh, near me. So that's that is the first. Let's see, that's June 11th, 12th, I think.
Okay.
That, and then the following weekend, I think, is Topeka,
Oh,
Kansas,
okay.
and then there's one in St. Louis, Springfield.
Springfield's a
Um,
hell of a town.
yeah, I've been there several times. I've gone down to Branson and gone through Springfield and stuff. I haven't spent a whole lot of time in Springfield, but I have been through. I've been to the Bass Pro Shop there and
Oh my.
different things like that.
So I love the sounds of all of this. What gosh, so many questions hitting my head. First of all, are you going by yourself or do you have like a buddy who you're road tripping with?
I don't know exactly yet. My best friend Allie, she says she's never been to Nebraska, so she wants to go with me there.
Okay.
Um, she doesn't live too far from me, so she'll probably go to Kansas City. I don't know. She's a very last minute person. It's hard to plan things with her,
Okay.
so we'll
So
see. And
so
maybe
she
just
comes sorry.
no, that's all right. And maybe just me. Maybe she and I. I don't know. And if she comes, I'll probably put her to work and give her my phone and have her film me. But
Right, right, right. What so talk about what you're planning to well, don't tell us everything you're planning to do there, but in terms of Substack coverage, do you have like a plan for how you're going to cover? all of these events? Like, are you working on one big memoir piece? Are you planning to go live at each one? What can we look forward to in June from Brandon Ellrich is so gay?
I'm planning on going live probably on every Saturday because that's normally when they. Some of them are Saturday and Sunday. Some are just
Mhm.
one day, but I'll probably try to keep it consistent and just do every Saturday. And I
Fun.
was planning on getting there a little early, maybe talking to a couple of the vendors and see if I could do a live, go along and talk to them, ask them how long they've been at Pride Fest, that kind of thing, and do a little interview with them. Maybe I don't know about the sponsors, how there might be legal
Mhm.
things where they can't. I don't know, go do a live video without an okay from the company or whatever. I don't know how all that works, but I'm gonna have to find out when I get there, I guess.
As
But
someone who works at a corporation, like they may not know how it works either, so just ask for what's
yeah,
that forgiveness, not permission.
Right.
right.
What do you anticipate being different about Pride this year under Trump
Yeah,
2.0 regime?
yeah. Um, the last couple of years I've gone to Kansas City, I haven't seen any protesters. No picket lines or protests or anything like that. So this year I might see some of those this time. Not really sure. St. Louis, I think every time I've gone there, there's been somebody with a megaphone on the corner. Just he wasn't aggressive or anything. He was just basically reciting Bible verses and things like that
Mhm.
on a megaphone. So there
Yeah.
wasn't a whole lot. It wasn't real aggressive or anything. It was they were peaceful about it, I guess, in a way.
Okay.
But the megaphone was a little intrusive. But
Right. If it makes you feel better, like there was one of those at Taylor Swift when we Taylor gated at the parking lot here in Seattle.
yeah,
So there's lots of sinners, but um, yeah, I am curious if as so it has become until this year very fashionable for companies to sponsor Pride, and
yeah.
all of LinkedIn turns into a sea of rainbow, right? That all every company updates their icon. Have you heard or do you think that's going to lessen this year, or do you think it will be more of the same?
Um, so last year at St. Louis, one of the sponsors of Pride was Boeing,
Sure.
and that was a big controversy because
We don't
supposedly,
want no gay planes.
well, because they had funded missiles and things that were used
Oh,
in the Palestine conflict and everything, and so there ended up being a protest that stopped our parade. But it was the group that had stopped the parade was also LGBTQ. So it was kind of I don't know. I feel like we shouldn't really be fighting amongst ourselves.
right.
Um, but I mean, I understand that they had something that they believed in and didn't believe that Boeing was the right sponsor for a Pride Fest. I don't know. It's kind of a precarious situation, but um,
It
I
is.
think I kind of veered from your question.
No, you are answering the question though. I think the meta question there is corporate responsibility, corporate. eh, It's not quite exploitism, but for a while I rolled. That it became a like, oh God, has pride become too tame? I mean, I'm not a member of the community other than as an ally, but I heard these conversations going on. I should say that sense of like, I know as a parent who has brought her children to Pride many years, there became this like there there were like memes of moms complaining that Pride was too racy because their kids were there, and a sense of this isn't what Pride is for. So it changed a lot. and I could feel the eye roll in it as a Gen Xer, you know, like, "Oh god, more company sponsorships, more little kids running around." And again, after Trump got reelected, I'm like, "Man, to go back to those days where we were complaining that people felt safe bringing their kids to a pride parade and wanted to be allies, and companies wanted to put rainbows on their freaking LinkedIn's." I really hope that both of those things are all that stuff is still happening this year. Is my point, and
Yeah.
I'm eager to hear your report because you'll be able to see it in multiple locations and like from the heartland, which is very different than what's
Yeah.
happening in Seattle.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
Is St. Louis the farthest east you're going, Brandon?
Yeah, that's my plan.
Okay. When is that one? I'll have to see if I can come out there and
Yeah.
live bomb the background
Yeah.
of your live.
oh,
Yes, I hope you do. I believe that one is the June 21st, 22nd,
Okay.
whatever week it started.
Yeah, like third weekend of. Okay, cool.
I think
Yeah,
so. Yeah,
I'll see if I can make it happen.
oh
I
my
should have
gosh.
had the schedule in front of me, but
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
not.
you all, I would, it would make me so happy if you all went live from the streets of Pride. And like the Substack made it all happen, like connected you guys, and then there you are, that getting all choked up. Please try to make that happen if you can.
I
Yes,
know a
ma'am.
couple of players that are not too far from Kansas City, so I thought about contacting them and seeing if, well, do you want to come to KC Pride and jump on a live with me? We'll see. I don't know.
Lawrence, does Fort Wayne do prides?
They do in July for some strange reason. Um,
Oh,
I mean, I kind of think it's probably smart marketing on their point because they're like, oh, we're Fort Wayne. Like, why are we going to compete with Chicago and Indianapolis and Columbus
yeah,
and Cincinnati and Detroit and every other major big city around us in
right.
June? We'll do ours in July when it's the hottest and most humid and most unbelievably uncomfortable.
Well, the good
Right.
thing about that is there will be less clothing.
Yeah, yeah. The bad thing about it though is there's less clothing, and it's the people in Fort Wayne, and the hot body to oh God, please put it back on ratio is quite high or
Well,
low.
actually,
Yeah, you get what I'm saying.
the Pride Fest in Nebraska is actually in July also.
Oh wow,
So yeah,
I
and
like that. Keep it going.
yeah, and Columbia, Missouri is in September, and I think probably it's that's where MU is as college town. So I'm wondering if maybe
they
they
right they did it as kids are coming back into town. That's actually
yeah,
really smart because I feel like it could be like that beautiful early autumnal weather, which would be perfect for celebrating.
yeah.
Lawrence, I like, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna. So my Pride Fest tour will kind of extend. It'll trail off a little bit in July and then in September probably, but
Nice.
the bulk of it will be June.
Right. Forgive me, I don't know Midwest distances very well because I've never lived there, but how far apart are you two? How far are you from Fort Wayne?
It's probably like a 6 hour drive,
Oh, okay.
right? I mean, it's
Something like that.
like it's two to Indy, and yeah, it's probably 6 hours. I mean, not
Okay.
terrible.
Add it to the
Apparently, everybody in the
itinerary.
Midwest drives. Like, people will hear like, "Oh, 6 hour drive, no problem. I could do that." Like, "Oh, I'll leave early in the morning and we'll have lunch," which is
Right.
not the way my brain works necessarily.
Yes, you've
Yeah,
been West
if
Coast
I'm going to
about.
drive 6 hours, I'm probably going to have to stay there and stay the night at least. And
Wow, Lawrence, I haven't been keeping an eye on the chat, but I just looked up and I see we all rub ourselves in KY to stay warm.
Well, Robin's saying that Toronto's Pride Fest doesn't have many clothes, but it's also not very hot there yet at the time that they
Okay.
have it. And so Fasun was suggesting that everyone rubs themselves in KY to stay warm.
Does that work? Does it heat if you have it really? I'm kidding. Uh, in insulation
Right,
level.
right. KY sounds chilling.
It does. It does. Is it covering
unless
oneself
it's
in
unless
cake?
it's that KY that heats up when you combine the two flavors together.
Uh,
oh,
is that a
oh,
thing? Is that a thing? That doesn't
I
sound
mean, it is
tasty.
a thing. Come on, am I the only one who's tried that? There's a
So
new
one
kind of lube. Oh my god, let's try it.
so one person has one flavor and the other person has the other flavor, and they rub together.
Yes,
Oh my
yes.
gosh. How
I
much
mean, I'm
do
not saying that me and my ex tried it,
yeah.
but we did.
Okay. How did it and it warmed up? Is that what I'm hearing?
It did. It gets warm and tingly, and it's fun and interesting.
Okay. I'll take
Highly
vitamin G.
advised not to have any, nicks from shaving or anything when you do it.
Yeah, ow. Okay. Now
Right.
I'm uncomfortable in my seat.
Right. Ow.
Ow, that sounds painful. Um, to pivot to a slightly more serious topic, um, at Gen XE, one of the dominating kind of
Ooh,
thoughts. I
dominating.
sorry, oh, dominating. Sorry, my words are not coming very quickly this morning. But we think of Gen X as a fulcrum generation. I say that a lot of like we're kind of bridging two worlds. And Lawrence has talked about this before a bit of like Gen X queer gay men, not queer, but gay men specifically are fulcrum in that they lacked elders, both because people were so quiet about being gay, but more importantly, because AIDS took away a generation of men right above us. So getting all heavy. And then we've also been around to see the advent of PrEP. We've also been here to see marriage equality pass. Washington State, I think, was the first. Thanks, Macklemore, and then nationwide. Um, have you? You are a younger Gen Xer, more of a Zennial, would you say? Are you, like, right on the cusp there?
I would say, yeah.
Um, do you also carry that, sense of being between 2 worlds? Like, can you remember and did you feel
Yeah.
that lack of role models, um, growing up?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Growing up, um, we didn't see, especially in movies on TV, didn't see any gay icons. At least I wasn't aware of them. Um, I was because our household was a little conservative. We weren't allowed to see certain things,
Right.
or whatever. I may
Sorry,
have
I'm not
seen.
laughing at you, I'm laughing at Lawrence in the chat. Carry
Sorry,
Uh,
on.
Jim suggested that I look like a great Monty Python character and should give me a big sword. And I said, "Give me a big sword, Jim, and I can make it disappear." A couple of different
yeah.
ways, actually.
Um, boy, oh
Um,
boy, nothing like having a serious conversation, and I'm gonna
Right.
ignore the
Sorry.
chat.
Sorry.
No, 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 it's
I'm
so
only
hilarious.
I I'm playing off the chat.
I love the
it's
chat.
fine. It's fine.
Um,
It's fine.
right?
Um,
And look,
I was
do
I
you
was
remember
aware
the
of people
first
like. Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
I think we have a slight delay, at least on my
Yeah.
end, so or already each other. Lawrence has said that he writes queer science fiction because of a lack of characters and representation when he was growing up. Can you remember the first like book, movie, TV show character where you were like, "Yes, I feel seen"?
I was thinking about this the last couple days, and one of the first ones I remember was a movie. There was a movie called Mannequin. I
Yeah,
don't. Do you remember
Andrew.
that?
McIntyre.
It's Kim Cattrall and Andrew
Oh,
Right?
right. Right.
It's
It
Yeah,
in the
wasn't Matthew Perry. It was Andrew McCarthy.
it's in the
yeah,
'80s or
Yeah.
whatever.
yeah.
And yeah, so there, Meshack Taylor played in that, and he was kind of, it wasn't like a main character, but he was like, a co-star or whatever. But he played a gay man in that, and I don't know. There was some scene where they were in the mall and they were having, I think there was some kind of gunfight, shootout or something, and he was crawling along the floor with this other person, and he
Mhm.
said something about learning it in the army, and the other guy says, "You were in the army?" He said, "Yeah, they were looking for a few good men, and so was I." You know, and that line for some reason just really stuck in my head. That's the only thing, almost the only thing I remember about that movie, and like
Wow.
there was this gay guy, openly gay guy in a movie, and he was proud of it, and for some I don't know why it was that
I
that
love
that
that.
line that stuck out, but that's the first one I remember, I think. Or
Yeah.
Clue, also, the movie Clue. I love Clue,
So
but
my kids and I do too. It's a great movie.
Mr. Green was gay, and that was the big secret that the black that Mr. Body was holding over him. He was
Oh,
he couldn't reveal that he was gay or he would lose his job in Washington or whatever it was.
Mm.
And that was kind of interesting. Is I guess I kind of connected with him in a way because
yes,
he was holding on to this secret, and he would do anything to keep it under wraps. And I don't know if I had really come to the full realization that I was gay at that time, or at least I didn't admit it to myself. But
When did you come out, Brandon?
um I was well into adulthood. I mean, even when I started college, I I was I met up with guys online, and but only like I didn't I didn't think I could ever have a relationship or anything. So it was only with other guys who were DL or whatever, and it was just
Right.
for sex. But uh, I was in my 20s. I came out to a friend of mine, and that's the first person I verbally said it to. Admitted that I was gay. She already knew, which most people do.
Right.
But
right.
I mean, it may seem obvious, but when you grow up in a household and they believe being gay is wrong and have it's kind of sheltered. It doesn't even cross their mind. It's like, oh, that's just the way he is. It's not that he's gay. They I don't and maybe a lot of it's probably denial,
Right.
but it's I don't know. It's just kind of funny how looking back, I'm like, duh,
Right.
but you know, still, I still
Duh.
tried to pretend and hide it and everything, and everybody else knew it, but me.
Right. I might have missed this part when I was out walking my dog. Does your family know about your publication? Do they read what you write?
No, 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 no,
No.
no.
That's probably a relief, right?
Right. They don't even know that Substack exists.
Oh,
Okay.
no, yeah, no, no. They don't even Substack. No, um, no. I wrote a book. Uh, it had to do with uh, teen depression and had elements of suicide, that kind of thing. And my mom read it, and she said, "Why don't you write about something a little more positive?" You know, she was not supportive of my
Sorry, I'm
writing.
flipping off your mom.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Right.
if I don't know.
Because this is my lived experience, mother.
Yeah.
Right. Why do you gotta be such a bummer? That is harsh. It's do they not read it now because they don't know about it because you haven't told them, or is it a lack of interest? Where does that sit for you?
Both. I mean, I haven't told them about it, and I know there's no point in it. They're not. They wouldn't agree with it. They wouldn't like it. I would probably get lectures or whatnot, and I'd just rather, this is my thing. They don't need. They don't need to be a part of it. They don't need to know about it. I don't care. Yeah, you're not going to support me anyway. That's fine.
Are you estranged from your family? Do you still talk to
No,
them?
no, no. We just don't talk about certain things.
Right.
Well, I still go over there for Christmas and everything, and they act like nothing's wrong. They like my mom likes to pretend that everything's okay. You know,
Okay.
okay, fine. Go ahead.
Have you ever brought a partner home?
No,
Boyfriend home? No.
no, no.
How would you
They
if if you were, like, really, really serious with someone for a long time and it was Christmas, like, would you insist, or are you just like, "We keep the peace and my 2 worlds are separate?"
It would depend on him. I mean, I would have to ask him what because I know
Fair.
he wouldn't be welcome there, but if he really wanted to meet my family and everything, then we would talk about maybe going and meeting them and everything, but I wouldn't, um force him to be part of that, I would make him fully aware of how he would be received, and, we'd have to yeah, we'd have to discuss that. It wouldn't be up to me
Yeah.
necessarily,
Yeah,
but
I mean, it sounds like you'd kind of be bringing him into the lion's den, into a war zone, and he would have to, plan appropriately and be ready to be snubbed and reviled. And yeah,
yeah. I mean, but I don't they wouldn't be they have enough manners that they wouldn't be, directly antagonistic toward him. They just would avoid, 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 just ignore. He's just Brandon's friend, whatever. I did have a boyfriend, and he lived in St. Louis. It was a long distance relationship for a little while. Um, and when he died, I I went out there for the funeral and everything, and my sister in law went with me. She was the only one that has been okay with it, but um, anyway, my mom knew that I went out there and everything, but she still referred to him as my friend who passed away. Sh- she had no, she had all kinds of denial about who he really was to me, how much he meant to
I'm
me.
sorry.
well, Brandon, if you ever want to fuck with him, invite me, and I will pose as your boyfriend, and we can just have a really gay old time. I'll be like, you know who sucks a mean dick? Brandon.
Well,
Your son.
Man, that
Mm.
kid could suck a chrome off a bumper. Ma'am, you must have taught him right as he was growing up. Do
I
you have
would
a
be
Hoover when he was
communicated.
growing up? Because he sucks like a Hoover.
That would be it. Done.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're getting close to the top of the hour, and
We
I
didn't even
do.
talk about his cats.
Oh my god. You have to come back. How have we not
Yeah,
talked about your cats?
they're asleep in the other room, so they don't care what's going on.
They don't. Oh, they're
I've only got one
yours.
cat at the moment. My little
Yeah.
Oh,
Cavalier.
my kitties are nowhere to be found. Dog is asleep here. I wanted to ask you real quick before you go, our standard question, what's the ultimate Gen X song? Late
Well,
Gen Xer.
yeah. For me, one of the first when I started listening to the radio on my own, and didn't have to listen to what my parents listened to. I listened to a lot of soft rock. Being depressed, of course, you want to listen to depressing music. And one of the first ones I remember that I really loved was Desperado, but it was by
By the Eagles?
no, Linda Ronstadt sang it. It was the Eagles song, but she covered it, and I really liked
Oh,
her version of it. But
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
but
I don't know
she
that I
was
do, and I love her voice.
I love her, and I love that song. That was more for me personally, but like for more of an general anthem, one of my favorite bands of all time is Green Day,
Okay?
and my favorite song from them is "Time of My Life." Good riddance.
Yeah, yeah, that's a
Oh, yeah. Awesome song.
completely anthemic.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the closing of Seinfeld too, wasn't it? Didn't they end the show, the entirety of the series to that song? I feel like that
Oh,
final
just
episode had that song in it. I hope you have the time of your
oh, they
life.
might
Yeah.
have. I don't remember.
Maybe I'm
But
making that up, but I'm pretty sure that that's true. So, that I can't believe nobody's mentioned Green Day or that song before because that is a total banger and a total anthem.
A total
Nice
GenX
pick.
song for sure.
And I need to go
yeah.
look up that Linda Ronstadt song. My one of my karaoke like go-tos is Different Drum, which is like one of her first songs when she was like 17.
Oh,
Do you know that song? It's from the 60s. It's really
well,
old. But it's so fun to sing. Uh anyhow, great pick. Great having you on. Like this has
So
been
awesome. Can I say one thing before we go?
yes.
I published an article this morning that is kind of heavy. I put a lot of my soul into it. I would love it if everybody could go read it. And if you feel compelled, share and restack and do all that stuff. It is about Gaza. It's about the situation in Gaza. It's about growing up Jewish and kind of ultimately realizing that as an American Jew, even I can't be silent about what is happening in Gaza. So please, please, please go check it out. We're
We're
going to
gonna
be
talk
talking
about it
about it
tomorrow.
tomorrow in depth. Yeah. But Brandon, thank you so much for being here. It was awesome to finally like meet you, in
yes.
person.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I've really enjoyed the daily whatever, so I was really happy to be on.
Oh my
Oh, for
gosh.
sure. Yeah, and you're welcome to come
Anytime.
back anytime and please keep hamming it up in the chats because we love the energy that you bring.
We do it.
Thank
I
you.
cannot wait to see you on the road for Pride. Please try to go find Lawrence if you guys can. That
Oh
would be
yeah.
Yes, St. Louis.
amazing.
We'll figure it out. I'll DM you, Brandon. We'll figure out St. Louis. Meet me in St. Louis.
Yes.
I love it.
Thankfully.
Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Bye,
Love you, mean
Bye.
everybody.
it.
Have a great Wednesday. Love you, mean it. Bye.
Bye.
Mwah.